Now this is 28th of March today, and we see that Russia and Ukraine have come to this far, and now Zellensky says that he is willing to discuss neutrality. Neutrality means he is joining no blocs, neither NATO nor Russian Federation. So that is how Zellensky is ready now. So let's see what has happened. What has happened between these 34 days. Let's go point by point. That the leader of Ukraine separatist Luhansk region says they are going to seek a vote among their population as to whether they want to become part of Russia. And then Ukraine's military intelligence head says Russia is trying to split the country into two parts. That is the eastern and western part. So to create a Moscow controlled region. So that is how this point has come up. And third is new face-to-face talks are set to take place next week, sometimes between Ukrainian and Russian officials. This has been confirmed. And Turkey is facilitating this meeting. And French President Emmanuel Macron calls for caution after the US President called Putin as a butcher, which is not a language to be used in the politics or by the president. So that is how, say, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zellensky says that we need to show more courage for helping Kyiv resist the Russian invasion. So Kyiv is being besieged by Russian forces, and that is how it is happening. And this is 34 days, and a massive Russian army is unable to win over Ukraine. This is a wonderful thing which has happened, that might of Russian soldiers or Russian army armed forces have been dissipated, and now it's sort of a stalemate or some sort of lull has come into this war. So let's see what all is going to happen and what are the important takeaways. We can just think it over, that there is a problem of refugees. About 37 lakh refugees, they have crossed over to various countries, that is Poland, Czechoslovakia and Slovenia and all other countries. And there is a massive destruction which has taken place as far as Ukraine is concerned, because Russia has been bombarding most of the cities, and they have been converted to rubble cities or heap of rubbles in every city. And Russian, wherever they were occupied, they have caused destruction to monuments and important buildings and places of historical importance. So that is what is happening now. And as far as Ukraine is concerned, their special forces, they have been doing remarkably well in the guerrilla warfare. They have been attacking Russian aircrafts, shooting them down, killing their tanks and armored convoys, BMPs, artillery gun areas, and troops concentration, logistics line, that they have been doing wonderfully well. And as far as casualties are concerned, no exact figure of Ukraine casualty has come up, but what Russia is claiming is about few thousand, and similarly the Ukraine is claiming about 18 to 19,000 Russian troops have been killed, and few thousand have been taken prisoner of war. And many pictures have come up on their TV channels and on internet and other social media, that many Russian soldiers have been picked up by Ukrainian soldiers as prisoner of war. And mind you, there are rumors or information or some sort of news that Russian people, soldiers, they have sort of refused to fight war with Ukraine, especially in and around Lviv area. They say that they're not going to fight, but let's see what exactly comes out. But shocking thing is that much more number of generals of Russian army have been killed, and there is no information as to how many generals or senior officials of military of Ukraine have been killed. But this is a fact that Russian senior generals have been killed, and this is how Ukrainian special forces and other army people, they operated. And one more important thing I would tell you, that the communication command and control systems have been maintained by Ukraine in spite of heavy bombarding and call its trafficking of those cities and areas and military installations of Ukraine. But still, the communication, command and control is going on, and on swift information, the Ukrainian forces, special forces, they attack Russian convoys, they ambush them whenever they find an opportunity. So that means the communication surveillance system is intact, and that is how they are getting information of lethargy of Russian soldiers or some sort of weakness or slackness in Russian movement of troops. They attack them at their will and with impunity. That is what is happening. Russia has learned many lessons of this war, and it appears that Russia is fighting now not as a very cohesive body of troops. That is what is happening, or maybe it is ill-planned or half planned or half-baked attacks. Only attacks by the missiles and multiple rocket launchers and aircraft are successful because they are individual people, those operating, but as a cohesive body or a body of troops, they are unable to attack Ukraine in a big way. Only bombarding, missile attack and rocket attacks have been successful in causing destruction in the Ukrainian cities. So that is what it is. And Ukrainian civilian death toll has now reached, as per United Nations, about 5,000 people. But let's see what happens. These are the contentious figures, and Russia says something, and UN says something, and Ukraine says something else. So this is what is happening. But only thing is that one should remember that NATO is not involving itself in the war. It has sent its troops to the countries around Ukraine, those who are part of NATO, and that is how it has been deployed. Though Zellensky has been demanding that it should be given fighter aircrafts, guns, tanks, but NATO says no. They have been giving them small arms, which have been very successful. The battalion infantry weapons, that is the rocket launchers, etc., and UACV by Turkey, which have been used very successfully against the Russian forces. So so far so much, and the equipment consignment has been received by Ukraine yesterday, and only thing is that how many troops are left to fight Ukraine war with Ukraine. That is a thing which has to be known, which no figure has come out as far as Ukraine is concerned. The authentic figure of death toll of their soldiers or soldiers injured or hospitalized have not come. But still, these type of weapons which have been given by the NATO countries are operated by individual soldiers and not by a group of soldiers. So they have a missile system, shoulder fired, the NLAW, the Stinger, and other missiles. They are basically anti-tank, anti-low flying objects, that is the helicopter and their fighter aircrafts or bombers, and even UAVs. They can be attacked with these weapons or missile systems. So that means a large number of troops are there, soldiers are there, and they are die-hard soldiers. They have been trained, and as compared to this, Ukraine's soldiers who got a massive morale of fighting with Russians. Russia has borrowed services of mercenaries like chechenfighters and Spartan forces. So I don't know what is happening. Regular Russian army is finding it difficult to fight in built-up areas in Ukraine. Man-to-man combat or close-quarter battles with the Ukrainian forces or troops. But Russia has to perforce employ those mercenaries or the forces on hire, that is Chechen and Spartan. That is how this is happening there. So that gives a boost to Ukrainian forces, that they say okay, Russians are fighting with the help of mercenaries, whereas soldiers of Ukraine may not be well fed. They are not getting their rations of food or whatever supplies Nobody knows their condition, but still they got grit and determination to fight for their country. So as of now, there is a lull in the war, and Russia is just thinking what is to be done. They have got their own plan to siege big cities and then see the fall of Ukraine, and maybe after that Putin may stop, but otherwise Putin is not going to stop. The nuclear button he has kept with him, he is ready, and he is just waiting for his operation to go through. What is his plan to fructify, and then we'll see what comes next. And what Zellensky has to do, that also is to be seen. Unless they both talk to each other, massive destruction is already caused, many casualties already caused. People have fled Ukraine. They have become refugees in many countries. Those countries are failing. There are economic sanctions on Russia. All sorts of things are happening. So these are the important points or takeaways from the current situation between Russia and Ukraine, and the action or activities of NATO so far. That is what I wanted to tell you today. I'll bring more information as the war progresses or something else progresses now. If you got any questions, please ask me. You can write me in comments. I'll be able to give you a detailed information about that. Kindly watch my channel, like it, subscribe it, and tell your friends to also watch it, like it and subscribe it. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.